Hey everybody, Steve here from Pinball Room. Taking a break from my homebrew shows today to talk a little bit more about the big bomb that Stern just finally dropped. It's been rumored for a while. George Gomez has hinted at it. Internet connectivity is here for pinball machines, everybody. Woo! Can you believe it? All right, well, not yet. And we don't even have an exact release date. But September, October, it's coming. September, October, it's just coming really fast. All right, now let's dive into this. There's an insider access podcast that just came out. I went through, listened to the whole entire thing, got all the highlights for you guys. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here that they're putting together. George has been working on this for a couple of years. Not just George, he's got a whole team of people separate from the design teams for the games. He said he protected them, kept them isolated so they could, the design teams could keep working on their games so we get all the games we love. He says the game coming out in September is going to absolutely just blow our minds. So Keith, I'm sure you've done it again. All right, let's get it. Insider Connected is what they're branding this here, right? Okay, so, and by the way, did you know George is an Eagle Scout and has a crap ton of merit badges? I'm an Eagle Scout too. George and I, we got that together. All right. So we'll come back around to that here in a minute. Insider Connected, what it's all about here. It's a massive thing. He says it's going to impact so many aspects of the game. It's intended to extend every scenario. And it's hardly done. What does that mean? Well, it means that the last 2 years, what George says when this comes out here, we're only going to start seeing just the first little sliver of what's actually possible. And then on monthly cadence, they're going to put out updates to release more and more capabilities with this. I really like the approach he's taking with this, that he's making it a very flexible system. The 2 years he says he's been spending, he's learned a lot through his time in the career, right? He's done a lot of game development over the years of his career, and he's learned a lot, he said. We got some history here we'll kind of dive into. I think it's really interesting that we'll talk about. But long story short, he's worked with his team really, really hard to brainstorm all the possible things that could happen and make sure the system is going to be flexible. This resonates with me a lot because I've been in the user experience design discipline in SaaS companies and technology for quite a while. And same type of thing. You sit down and you're starting to build a whole brand new product. You got to make sure you don't box yourself in, right? Because you don't know exactly how your users are going to use the tool you buy and what parts they like of it. You've got to be able to be nimble, agile, and iterate. Sounds like George has been taking all that into consideration. It's his platform, and he knows that some of their ideas are going to resonate and some of them aren't. And they've said they build a system that's going to allow them to adapt to that and be able to focus and put more effort on the things that people do like and not worry so much about the ones that we don't. So, all right, here we go. Let's dive into it. So I think many of you, if you're like me, kind of figured, oh, this probably started back with like NBA Fast Break, right? That was one of the cool things that I've never even played an NBA Fast Break that's connected. You have to have two machines. You can connect them, you play head-to-head. I'm sure most of you know all about that, right? Well, that's not really where it all started, he said. I hadn't heard about this before. George said even before that, right after they came out with Johnny Mnemonic, he was working on a new title, a new game, kind of a novel thing called Armed and Dangerous, I believe he said it was called. It was all about, your play field was all about being full of tanks and going through and how you'd have ultimate firepower. There were some video game rules in there, in that your tank was built out of like the inserts down between your flippers. You build up your tank. Anyway, long story short, whenever the ball drained, it wouldn't drain. It would just come back to your flippers. And the way the game would end, you would be connected with another machine. And as you went through and made your shots, you were basically attacking the other player's tank fleet and like knocking them out. And whoever destroyed the other one first won. Really cool thing. Sounds interesting. Would have loved to have a chance to play it. Never saw the light of day, of course, because I'd never heard it before. Maybe some of you have, but it never made it to the light of day. This was the late 90s. Pinball was starting to kind of decline. And basically he said the CEO came to him and was like, look, we have no idea how well this is going to sell. It's a very different thing. We're kind of struggling. We need a more sure bet. And, they canned it. And then, as we know, years later, after that, George said he was kind of coming around and was like, oh, NBA Jam and all these other video games are going really crazy right now. Let's capitalize on that. Let's do an NBA game. Roger Sharp was like, I can get a license, no problem. They went through and they got it. They did it. And then they said when they were getting pretty close to being done with that game, which had its own cool innovations, right? The hoop and the defenders. And if you've played it, it's a really fun game. Very different. He said that the team then kind of had the idea of like, what if we connected these games and had you be able to kind of play together? And that's where that was born out of. But of course, as we know, it's kind of rare to find games are connected outside of like expos or a few locations here and there, because operators were also kind of like, why do I want to buy two of the same machine when I only have like maybe 8 machines in this location? It's kind of a risk. So it never really got to see its full potential, I think, as much as George maybe would have liked, right? But he said it was, back in like the early 2000s where he was working again on some Xbox and PlayStation games that he really started to see, the potential of internet connected games and having people be able to get connected to games around the world. So this is something he's thought about it forever, right? One story he told I liked was about the LCD screen on Stearns. So, you know, for years, everybody in the community was yelling at them like, get LCDs, just like Jersey's Jacket. Everybody, come on, just bring in some LCDs. And George said they were like, yeah, no, we know we need to do that, but like, we are a privately funded company that doesn't have huge investment angels coming in. Like, we got to walk before we can run. And like, yeah, I can put an LCD screen in the back box for you guys, but I got no animators. I got no team that's going to go through and actually put anything worthwhile into it. So you just have a really, really giant DMD display on LCD. Like, we wouldn't be able to do a whole lot with it. And George is very much like, we want to do it when we can, when it was right. And, you know, he thought, I can't just immediately go out and like hire 30 people to suddenly support this new portion of game development. So they had to kind of get there over time. And anyway, I'm glad they did. I think we all love what they're doing with their games and with the animations, the artwork, the whole team. You guys are doing a great job, so thank you. But I guess all that kind of goes back to like, all of this insider connected internet connectivity and all the systems we're going to talk about with achievements and all these type of things and badges and avatars and QR codes, it's all stuff they've been thinking on for quite a while, and they've just wanted to really make sure they have it designed well before they put it out. That being said, they're going to release it very iteratively. Okay, enough of that. So let's get into it. So George says this is going to have basically kind of a two-pronged approach here, right? There's going to be player-focused elements and operator-focused elements. We'll talk about the operator elements first. I think they're a little bit simpler. We'll kind of get through them here, right? All right, so the operator side of it, right? You can probably guess pretty much what they have there for the operators, right? If you're an operator, I'm an operator. What do you want out of internet connected? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Data. I want game analytics. I want to know game trends. I want to know which locations are performing best, which games on that location are performing best, how far people are getting through them, how long they're playing, what times of day are most popular. Is anything broken? Can you tell me what's wrong with the machine so I know the second it goes down? Because I like to keep my machines up and running. I hate having machines that are down, not even because of it costs me money, because my setup's a little bit different. I just get a flat fee, but because I don't want people to be going there like, oh, the machine's broken again. Anyway, right? You want to know all that type of stuff. Well, that's what they're working on. So much so even, he said they have an outside third-party data analytics company that they're working with to really build up a huge set of data that they can mine, not just to expose analytics and tools and great things for the operators, but even for Stern themselves as a company. I mean, I got a Stranger Things when it came out, spring right before COVID hit. And I got an email from Brian Eddy. I was like, woo, you know, a little starstruck. And he's like, hey, you're an operator. We'd love for you to start sending us some of your audit logs and stats and stuff so we can kind of track the gameplay. Well, my game never quite went on location about it right before COVID hit, so it never happened. But that type of thing, as far as like reaching out manually to operators around the world in the 70 countries they're shipping to, George talked about having like a close-knit operator group he has of about 20 operators that he will contact on a regular basis about Deadpool, about his different games and things, and be like, hey, give me this data so I can learn. It's very manual, very kind of old school, tedious way of getting this data, right? So one of the big things for Stern and for the operators, for the connectivity, is simply just going to be the data is going to finally be there at their hand. I like they're using a third party. They're not data mining experts, data analytics experts, right? So they're bringing in another company to help them get this up and running so they can make it, take advantage of it. I think that's going to be great. Okay. Really, that's about it for what he talked about for operators, right? Well, yes and no. We'll come back around. There's one other kind of cool thing he talked about for operators. Let's talk about what's in it for us, for the players, right? Because I'm a small-time operator. I'm much more a player than anything else, though I suck. But I'm way down the list if you ever look me up. So the player-focused element. Right now, Stern has Insider, and then they have the All Access. These are these areas you can log in on the Stern website, right? Insider area, Insider Access, whatever it's called, is free. The All Access, you pay a little bit, right? And you get some early sneak peeks at some podcasts and things, and merch, nothing crazy yet. Well, they're going to kind of take that to the next level now. So Insider is now becoming Insider Connected. They're kind of evolving that. Okay, and when you log in, there's going to be a whole new set of web pages where you're going to have your own profile and your account, and you're going to be able to start tracking the different things that this internet connectivity is giving you, right? You can probably start guessing some of these type of things, right? All Access will become All Access Connected. So if you're paying, you'll have that, the current stuff, plus everything that comes out with internet connectivity. Code updates, of course, are going to be coming along. Yes, of course, code updates will be happening. It says you can do it even like on a computer set to do automatically install updates, which I never do, even much as I know George wants me to, but I'm going to wait to make sure the updates are good ones. So that's coming along. One of the big questions you think about internet connectivity and really having this work with the individual is how do you know who's playing the game? George said this is one kind of the core first things they had to figure out how to to solve how to do this. He didn't want to do NFC. He didn't want to be doing Bluetooth. He didn't want to be doing these other crazy things that just he felt would be a little too cumbersome and difficult for different demographics, different people to get up and going. So what they settled on is a QR code on the apron that you'll be able to go through and scan with your phone or whatever else when you're right there at the machine. If you don't have an account yet, it'll take you to a page where you can log in, create an account. If you have one already, it'll just log you in, and then your avatar is going to show up on the back box display. Yes, that's right. When you create your account, you'll get to create or select an avatar. I'm not sure they're going to be using Gravitron or what they'll be doing, but there's going to be avatars, probably as all custom ones they've created. You'll get to select one, upload it, or when you log in, it'll be display up on the back box. He said maybe even your initials or your name. Almost kind of sounds like they're not sure exactly what else is going to be displayed. I'm sure they're going to keep it minimal because there's already a lot going on in the display, right? But a QR code, not just a printed QR code. There's also going to be apparently a QR scanner integrated into these aprons or somewhere on the machine. I'm assuming the aprons. They talked about the aprons a lot because he said, it's not even going to require you to have your phone. Once you've got your QR code, your own unique individual profile QR code, that you can have that printed out on a card, and you can go up to the machine and just scan that. So the machine's going to be able to scan QR codes. Not just your own QR codes, but they're also down the road, potentially with promotions. He said maybe one day you'll see a McDonald's hamburger wrapper, and on that will be a Stern QR code that you can take to your local operator's location, scan on one of the machines, and maybe get some free games or get a discount on their drinks and burgers or things like that. They talked about maybe there's going to be some sort of a contest. Zach Minnie, this sounds like this was right up your alley. Start a contest. Who's going to be the first person to get their Stern Insider connected QR code tattooed on their hand or their body somewhere? I'm hoping it's you, Zach. Hoping it's you. I don't know what I can offer you other than just my adoration, I guess, and laughter. All right, so you'll be able to, inside your account, you'll see a list of your achievements, and there's a whole achievement system, right? Again, that was probably predictable. But we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty of what all that's really going to mean for Stern. There's also going to be a brand new forum, a Stern public forum with general discussion areas. Woo, what's this going to mean for Pinside? I almost never go on Pinside, so it won't mean much for me. But there's going to be news there, there'll be promotions, plus every game that will be connected, which there's like 17 Spike 2 machines now, George said, and they're hoping to have them all up and running by December, connected and with their code updates. Each one of those games is going to have its own subforum where people can get in and talk about the specific things going on with internet connectivity per game, because there's going to be specific things per game. Okay, let's keep going. So you'll see your list of achievements. You're going to see badges. So there's some gamification stuff going on, right? They also talked, this one kind of scares me for Stern. They talked about their forums are going to be a way for their employees and their designers and engineers to interact with the public. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you want to do that? Hopefully everybody's nice on your forums, right? And it's great conversation. But I'm just thinking, I used to work for a company, we had our own public forums, and man, the time suck that was for us. I had to manage some of that for years, and it keeps you from doing your day job. So I be careful, George. Be careful what you're asking for there. You're kind of, can't go back once you go down that road easily. Anyway, okay, so yeah, what else? The games can be connected via either Wi-Fi or Ethernet. Ethernet, of course, more reliable. Wi-Fi, way easier to set up. He said it is going to require a Wi-Fi dongle, but don't worry, they're going to include that in the Insider Connected Connectivity Kit that they're going to be releasing and selling for games as they come forward, plus for past compatible games, Spike. You mentioned Spike and Spike 2, but then primarily seeing Spike 2, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work for Spike 1 games also. You mentioned Star Wars and things like that, right? So they don't have a price. They don't have a release date, exactly when these are going to be coming out. I'm sure it's going to be imminent here this fall. George said he worked really hard to convince the sales guys. They'd be like, this is not a way to make money. Please just sell it, basically just right above cost. We just want to get this out and get it saturated and get everybody to have these kits, which of course makes sense. Thank you, George. That's the way it should be. So hopefully they're very, very affordable. It's going to include a Wi-Fi dongle. So hopefully that's no more than like, $10 for a simple Wi-Fi dongle. Well, 10 or 20, I don't know. It is going to include replacement aprons for a good number of early games that have funky things going on their aprons. He mentioned Elvira. He mentioned Star Wars, Batman, the kind of different things going on their aprons. So new aprons will come out to you. I believe that might just be for Pro. But the premiums, he said, for a while, they've already kind of been set up. Anyways, there'll be some new artwork on those aprons, some new decals that might come out along with that as well per game. So anyway, look for those to be coming. There will be ways for you to get connected. It is going to work, he said, just like when you get a TV and try to connect it with the remote. So we're going to have 2 or 3 flipper buttons and action buttons. So for those of you who have very long Wi-Fi network names and Wi-Fi passwords, I feel for you because it's going Yeah, take a while to type that in the first time around. That's going to be fun. All right. So what actually are we going to be getting with this system? The very first initial thing it sounds like we're going to be getting from what George said is the introduction of this achievement system. And by the way, another little bit of trivia here, George revealed he has a Peloton. And some of the things he saw with the Peloton kind of inspired him a little bit with some of the badges and achievements you get in Peloton. So there you go. Basically, the achievements are going to be, at a most basic form, kind of like a new rule set per game. Right, is going to be unique per game. He talked about in Deadpool, it might be, for example, a new challenge to see how quickly, maybe if you defeat Juggernaut under a certain amount of time, like if you get him defeated in 15 seconds, bam, you get this achievement unlocked. You get a little badge inside your account that everybody else can see you achieved that, how fast you achieved it, the stats around it, things like that, right? The date. He talked about Dwight is developing something for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where you have some achievements you can complete around training up the different turtles, right, and kind of advancing them within your game. So things like that. It's like you've got all your standard rules and modes, but now there's going to be some new, I don't know if full-on game modes. He didn't say that. Maybe down the road, but at least you're going to get different challenges, different tasks, different things you can accomplish. And again, collect these badges. You can collect items. Cool thing is, he says, you can be able to go through and collect those. He gave the example. Maybe I've collected, I got 2 little Deadpools on my Deadpool machine. I really only want to keep one of them. There's no point to have 2. Down the road, we might be able to start trading in the community, trading different things. Now, those aren't going to be the achievements per se, but other little things you are awarded for completing achievements, right? You get the little Deadpool. I don't know if it's a little badge, another icon avatar thing. That was a little foggy, but there's going to be aspects of virtual things you can collect and then potentially trade with other players. That could be really cool. That could be fun. Achievement badges, and also you're going to be gaining experience points when you complete these. So I slide off my glass and get maximum experience points. This is interesting. This is something I'm I see why they're doing it, but I'm not sure. So George introduces primarily first as saying you won't get full experience points unless you've completed that challenge at a machine that is validated as being on location and not just your own personal machine. You'll still get experience points and things for your personal machine. But so I think it's interesting that that kind of intimates a lot of different little things here, right? As far as it's inferring things like, okay, so locations and their machines are going to have a way somehow to validate that this machine is on location. How exactly is that going to happen? How are we going to validate that? How are we going to double check that for accuracy? If you put quarters in your machine, is that going to get it right? You still take the glass. Lots of unanswered questions. We'll have to see exactly how it comes out. And honestly, to be fair to George, maybe they don't have it 100% figured out. They'll kind of learn as they go also. But he did make that comment that the full experience points that you'll be able to track in your account will only really be available at those machines that are on location in some way. They'll be tracking that. So, okay, let's move on. So at launch, he said 7 games will have achievements ready. Again, September, October. Led Zeppelin, Deadpool, Avengers Infinity Quest, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then he kind of forgot the other 3. He never mentioned them. So, and 3 other games. We'll see what else is out there, right? That's going to have this. By December, they hope to have code ready for all 17 games with different little modes and achievement things for them. Okay, there's also going to be non-game specific achievements, just some basic gamification type stuff. Like he said, let's say if you play 100 games over 100 days consecutively, then you'll get the Century badge, right? An award. And maybe they'll send you a t-shirt for it. So there was talk a couple times about maybe some swag for those who complete different challenges and are regularly playing or things like that, So that sounds interesting. All Access down the road is going to unlock special achievements and special things that the non-paying members of Insider Connected will not have access to. Though he said most likely those will over time be rolled out to everybody, but if you want them immediately, you'll need to pay. So beyond just the basic achievements and things like that, there's going to be treasure chests that will get worked into the games where they might just, content drops, just like you have on PlayStation or Xbox, right? You unlock different bundles of content. He said it sounds like it could be a combination of virtual and real. You might get some Stern swag, like a hat shows up your door, plus maybe some virtual things. There will be promotions going on, because of course it's a business, there'll be promotions. The example he gave is maybe kind of like a punch card, like at Subway, right? Where you play 10 times at this one location, maybe they'll give you 11th game free, right? And that kind of crosses back over into the operator side of things, right? Beyond just the data and analytics, this is going to be a platform to allow operators to run promotions and try to encourage people to come play at their location, which is great for location business, right? So locations can put out their own challenges. It might be something as simple as a promotion of, hey, come in, put in $4 in a game and you'll, get some percentage off on a meal or on drinks or things like that. It could also be just challenges that they offer. At least this is the impression I got. I'm not 100% positive here, but it sounded like, beyond just promotions, they can also maybe go through and say, hey, this challenge is now available in these games. Come here and play this, and earn points, etc. Again, I'm not positive, but we'll see. There's definitely going to be some things in there. George is very much focused on making sure operators are able to take advantage of this and really have it help pump their business. So hopefully it's beyond just coupons. I think it will be. Something that George feels is going to be very novel for pinball, and this is why I'm thinking the operators will get involved with this, is something that he calls challenge quests. Okay, could be, and he said it could be issued by locations, okay, to drive business. Could be issued by Stern to the entire community, like limited time. For the month, what I envision is like, for the month of November, whoever completes this or plays this many games on the new game coming out in September, Godzilla, right? Whoever completes this challenge thing the fastest, is going to get some extra points, whatever else, right? Like, so Stern could be putting out these, kind of temporary challenges, but then locations, he said also, he specifically mentioned locations will be able to go through and issue these challenge quests, and that sounds really cool. That sounds fun. Like, you got your local places that are doing like selfie challenges during COVID, right? We couldn't really get together, so hey, take a picture of your score, or different things like that. I'm curious. I'm curious just how much flexibility there will be. They can almost kind of run like asynchronous, not tournaments, but like events, some sort of event-based thing on location. Come do this for this weekend or the next week, and whoever does the best. Like, I think it could be a lot of fun. I think it could be a lot of cool things there for location. I think this is great. Okay, so that's pretty much what we know so far. Challenge Quest to me is probably one of the most exciting things. Really interested to hear just how much flexibility there is for operators to go through and do things on location, different challenges and things like that. Yeah, what do you guys think? Is this pretty much what you were expecting? Any surprises? Are you excited about this? Is it kind of like, yeah, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping for more, actually. Like, what else were you expecting? I'd love to see it down in your comments to start a little conversation. Hopefully it'll go in a really good direction. I'm excited. I'm very optimistic. We'll see where it goes. All right, thanks everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.